Right. Good afternoon. Professor Marani, the current president of ECCE Council, Dr. Sheldon, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. My presentation today is on navigating the ECCE landscape in Malaysia, focusing on challenges, progress, and the future direction. Now, since the theme of this conference is on building resilience and boosting sustainable development, and therefore the landscape that I'm going to share with you, the landscape or the ECCE landscape I'm going to share with you, will be in the context of building resilience and boosting sustainable development. In order to make sure that we are on the same page, let me define for you what I mean by resilience, and it refers to the ability to adapt well to adversity, trauma, threats and stress, as well as ability to manage stress and anxiety, or the ability to thrive in the face of change and challenges. Now, for me, I'm going to focus on the definition as the ability to thrive in the face of challenge and face of change and challenges. In this conference, the speakers have been concentrating on climate change, but I'm going to look at a much broader concept and that is with respect to surviving in the face of change and challenges. And as for sustainable development, it's taken from the UN definition, which is sustainable development as defined, a development that meets the needs of the present world without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So now the 21st century is a rapidly changing world. And as we can see that there are a crisis and as well as revolution. And for example, that is a digital revolution. And we know all this. The small print, don't worry, is just the licensing or the credit given. So this, and then it also not only include digital revolution, but also natural challenges, which is such as fire, forest fire, earthquakes, and even floods, and even COVID-19, the COVID pandemic. And there are many other challenges. And so what does Malaysia, so therefore, Malaysia feel that it is very important to prepare our children in the formative years. We all know the formative years are the most critical years for laying down the fundamental skills. So we need to prepare children in the formative years to thrive in a rapidly advancing world through building resilience and boosting sustainable development. And we're looking at it from two perspectives, or building the resilience and boosting sustainable development from two aspects, which is access to quality ECCE and also professionalism in ECCE. Now, it began, of course, as with the response of both the academicians as well as the government to invest in early childhood education or early childhood development. And so we can, therefore, you find that in investing the quality early childhood development, it begins, as you all know, with the research findings of neuroscientists, psychologists, economists, and statisticians. And of course, we all know there are influencers, and this is a very well-known person, and that is Professor James Heckman, a Nobel laureate, who actually promotes investment in early childhood education by showing the high returns of early childhood education, and also the importance of skill development. And this person, very few people know of him, but actually he's very, very, actually he is the one that James Heckman actually was influenced by him, and his Arthur ARNEC, who is the Vice President and Director of Research at the Federal Reserve Bank of Minnesota, Minneapolis. And when he found that there's a high return, when he was doing his research, he went around America advocating for investment in early childhood education. So we all know what is the research findings, such as the high return of returns from investing in early childhood. The early child development drives success in school as well as in life, and also the cost and the cost saving. And this cost saving is as well as it promotes economic development. And it is because of all this, particularly in terms of economic investment, that there's the created a worldwide investment in care and education. So always the driving force, it seems, is always economics rather than education. And in the case of Malaysia, we are going to share with you that the development, development, early childhood development is from two perspectives. As earlier, one is from because of the neuroscience findings, and the other is because of the economic development. Now, in the case of neuroscience scientists, we were actually influenced, the faculty of University of Malaya was greatly influenced, and so we conducted a study known as the Malaysian Child Development Project, which actually took 10 years because it is a cross-sectional as well as a longitudinal study, and it's a joint project of the Faculty of Education and the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Malaya. So the researchers consist of not only psychologists, sociologists, educators, but also pediatricians. We have also parasitologists, because you know that the worms in children, especially in the rural area, that also affect the development. So we have a parasitologist in our team. We also have a dietitian, as well as and also even social medicine. And the children, our subject consists of children from 3 to 6 years of age, and from 4 family background. And the 4 background are the urban advantage, the urban, disadvantaged, rural, and estate children means the children from the estates, from the plantation. And the result shows that the gaps in the development in all areas of development increases with increasing age. And so it widens, the widest gap is between the advantage and the children from the estate. And so we really feel what is very, very important is that the early childhood educators, whether they are preschool teachers or whether they are early or childcare providers, need to be properly trained, so that particularly the children from the vulnerable sector will be able to benefit from the from the early childhood education, care and education. We need this. We find that there is great necessity because our preschool teachers need only to have secondary school education, and our child care providers are merely babysitters because it is they're only looking after custodian care. And as a result, the Faculty of Education feel that we need to promote professionalism in early child education, and as a result, the University of Malaya introduced the Bachelor in Early Child Education, and that was in 1997, and it's the first of its kind in Malaysia. On the other hand, from the economic perspective, Malaysia wanted to become a higher income economy by 2020. So what the government did was to develop the transformation program ETP, called is by acronym by its abbreviation ETP, and so the government identified 12 areas. These 12 areas are the key drivers for the success of ETP. And the 12 areas are known as the national key economic areas. And education was identified as one of the NEKE. And in education, early childhood was identified as one of the 4 areas in education. Now, in order to implement or carry out the economic transformation program, which they feel that what is very important is the development of human capital. Because skill development is important for the sustained development not only of human beings, but even of the economy of the country, which is very important if we want to have quality ECCE. So what they did was they identified 12 labs, 1 lab for each of the 12 NEKE labs area. And these labs were held to implement how to work out how to implement the goal of becoming a high income economy by 2020. As a result of the 12 labs, 133 entry point projects were identified, and it is known by the abbreviation EPPE. And one of the results is that EPP1 is the ramping up of early childhood care and education. So what we need to do is that our target is to reach 90% of children in preschool by 2020, and for the childcare centers to increase from 4% to 25%. Of course, you find that it's quite a tall order, very ambitious. And so in order to implement our target, what we need to do is to identify the bottlenecks as well as the enabler to address the roadblocks. Now, for the lab, for early child ECCE, there were 4 members here, and Mr. Chiam, myself, who are here, were also members of the lab, and there are 2 who are not here. And we work with consultant for MAPECE, where we work with the account. And as a result of that, this, I'm sorry, it's quite small, but this is because this slide is taken from EPP1. And I just want to point out 2, unfortunately the prompter, I cannot use a prompter. I just want to point out one area of the roadblock and what is the enabler for this roadblock. And what I want to point out, sorry, I can't use this, low teacher salary, and the low teacher salary is due to low quality training. And one of the enablers, in order to make sure that we have professionalism in early child care and education, is to set up either a council or industrial association for the control and for quality control and professionalism. And it was decided that it would be the setting up of the ECCE Council. So my next slide is to show how the ECCE Council operate. Now the ECCE Council is to be the link between the government and the private sector. It's a link between the government and the grassroots. And the grassroots will comprise early childhood educators and training centers, because we need quality, we need professionalism, therefore we need also quality training centers. And the government sector that are relevant to ECCE, of course, is the Ministry of Education. JKM stands for the Department of Social Welfare, which is responsible for childcare. And we have MQA, is a Malaysian qualification agency, which is responsible for quality standards to ensure that the training program offered by the university and the colleges have quality standard. And so the ECCE Council is actually the job actually is to facilitate private-public partnership. So ECCE Council actually is responsible for ECCE, early child care and education, in the private sector. So we are actually the facilitator for the PPP. PPP is public-private participation. And the council job is advocacy, professional certification, and development. So let us look at the growth, the journey of the professionalism. First of all, from the historical perspective, as I earlier mentioned, that so far the preschool focus on the 3 R's, which is reading, writing, and arithmetic. And as for childcare, and for teacher qualification, as I mentioned earlier, is only secondary school requirement. As for childcare, the basic custodian care, the basic was provided by it's custodian care, so it's provided by babysitters. And so what is as earlier mentioned, the milestone in professionalism began with the Bachelor in Early Childhood Education in 1997. So what about the progress? First of all is the Education Act that was, which require all preschool to adopt the national preschool curriculum, which needs to be reviewed every 6 years. And so the second aspect is that the progress is that it was proposed that all preschool teachers must have at least a diploma in early child education. And as for childcare, the basic childcare course was replaced by the permater childcare course in 2013. And the ECCE Council drafted the Early Childhood Professional Act, which, so for the update, is that the national preschool curriculum in 2017, which is the current one, is being under review and which will be implemented in 2026. And then it was proposed that it was proposed for the minimum qualification to be enforced in 2020. But it was not possible because even in 2022, we found that only 91% of the people, of the teachers, preschool teachers in the government sector reached 91%. But unfortunately, for the private sector, it reached only 27%. So it's only in 2022, we are only, in 2022, to only 27%. And so the goalposts have moved from 2020 for the enforcement of the diploma as a minimum qualification to 2025. But we reckon it's not even possible for that, for this minimum qualification to be implemented because it's very difficult now within 3 years to have 73% of the preschool teachers in the private sector to attain the minimum qualification. Now, as for the childcare providers, there's no change in the qualification. Now, as for the draft, the ECCE Early Childhood Professional Act, it is on hold because ECCE in Malaysia is under two ministries, and either the Ministry of Education or the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development have to take responsibility. And at the moment, neither of them feel they are ready to take the responsibility. Now, for challenges the reason I want to share why we have difficulty for the teachers in the private sector to acquire the minimum qualification. And what I'm sharing is actually a study, online study conducted by the council in 2018. I just want to just share with you some of the findings. Now, the reason why many of them fail to get the minimum qualification is because historically only SPM or secondary school certificate is necessary. And so teachers, owners and principals and even community feel that it is adequate. What you need for preschool is to know how to read, write and do arithmetic. So they're not aware of the importance of the early years, and there are many other skills that are much needed. Secondly, because of low salary and the teachers feel that they cannot afford to pursue for the diploma. Thirdly, the teachers who are over 50 years of age feel that they're too old to succeed, and they're afraid of examination. And so they didn't want and even some of the employers wanted to sponsor them. They said no, not even the 50, some of the 40 plus also, they're not willing to go back to school. So, and of course the other is accessibility. Teachers in the rural area and remote area have access to colleges and universities because these are normally in major towns. Now, what are some of the enablers? First of all, there's a mistake. It should be IPGM, which is in English is the Teacher Training Institute. Now open its door to the private preschool teachers. Actually, it was in 2018, but the intake really took place only in 2020. They opened the doors because the cost of doing a diploma in the teacher training, the Teacher Education Institute is only over 8,000 Malaysian dollars, whereas in the private sectors it ranged from 15,000 up to 20,000. So they find that it is too expensive. Now, another one is that the MQA, which I refer, the Malaysian qualification agency, have instituted or recognized prior learning what they can get a diploma, degree, or use based on the prior learning, prior experiential learning, which is known by the acronym APEQ. And this is not only, it is actually, this qualification is available at all levels. That means from certificate up to PhD. So they can pursue this on the basis of their prior experiential learning. But unfortunately, again, there are a lot of people do not qualify because they have not actually made attempt to attend professional development courses to upgrade themselves. So they just keep on teaching. So they don't have the kind of knowledge and skills to be equivalent to the normal pathway. This is an alternate pathway, because it must be equivalent. The skills and the knowledge they have must be equivalent to the knowledge and skills from the normal the normal pathway. So, and then the Malaysian Skill Diploma from the Ministry of Human Resources is also considered to be another pathway. And so the ministry as well as the human resources are discussing how they can actually form the bridge to recognize those that have the skill, that they have the diploma from the Ministry of Human Resources. And then, of course, the other one to help those because of financial problem, that they can apply to the national loan system. And lastly, to increase learning, but distant learning, to help those from living in remote areas, and also to help, because all these are, what the enablers that I'm describing are to help the in-service teachers. The pre-service teachers should have no problem. So these are the enablers. Now, the next aspect is why we need professionalism to build up resilience and to boost sustainable development. And let me just share with you. Now, as I say, what is important is we need to help our children to thrive in a fast-changing world. And to do that, what is very important, that our children need to have the knowledge, the skills, not only the knowledge and the skills, but also the characters for them to adapt, to navigate. To navigate is to know how to overcome the challenges and also managing emotions is very important. And so these are some of the skills which I have identified, only some of the skills which are very important to build up resilience in in young children. And now what I want to point out, the reason what I want to show is, what is very important is that often teachers, parents, and even the community forget that building confidence is very important. A skill which is very important for survival, for resilience, and also this building of resilience is through risk-taking. And very often our parents and even the teachers and childcare providers try to protect the children and not expose themselves to know what kind of, to judge for themselves what kind of skills that are available and how to accept challenges, in other words, because when you have risks, you have risk-taking characteristic, then you are able to accept challenges. So later on, I will describe how, again, this risk-taking can be, children can be encouraged to have this skill. And so What is therefore, in order for help to children to survive, we need professional early childhood educators. I keep on using the professional early childhood educators because it's not just skills, it's not just knowledge, but the value and the teachers have, the ethics, all that have. So that is what, when I say professionalism, is what I try to emphasize on. And so when the teachers have the knowledge, this means that they can also enlighten the parents on the need to go beyond teaching the 3 hours. That children require more than the 3 hours, and so the parents can therefore contribute towards the building of resilience. But and of course, this will be, I know I have to run because it's a lot more. So what is very important is to help all these to take place, we need quality lecturers. If we don't have the quality of the early child educators depend on the quality of the lecturers. And so professionalism, as I earlier mentioned, is more than just knowledge and skills, because what is very important is that they have the knowledge as how, where, what to do, what are the activities the children need, and what are the kind of support that they give to the parents. And so the consequence of teachers without qualification, I keep on stressing it because of the low percentage of teachers with diploma in the private sector. So if the majority of the teachers in the private sector have the minimum qualification, I'm very concerned, because I feel that the children of the future of our children will be compromised. And I want to indicate that this is not just what the council say, what we are promoting, but research findings have definitely shown there's a significant relationship between teacher qualification and also the quality of ECCE. And this is a study to show that this is a study that revealed that the relationship between quality ECCE and quality teachers. Now, next I'm going to share with you the second aspect, which is ramping up access to early child care and education. Now, let me first of all share the World Bank. Actually, the World Bank report called Bending Early, Bamboo Shoot, shows that the fundamental skills and building resilience is one of the fundamental skills need to be built up in the early years. Now, first of all, let me begin with the access to childcare services. Now, it looks very good that the drop in 2018 and 2019, I'm told that is due to the grant that has been withdrawn. But then it picked up again. But what I'm more concerned is to show that after the pandemic in 2020, it picked up, right? The number of children going to childcare centers picked up. It looks very, very, very positive. But when you look at it more in detail, it doesn't seem such a rosy picture. If you look at 2021, the year 2021, 2022, 2023, and you look at the column registered childcare provider, you see that it's a big drop in 2022 and they pick up in 20. So you find that although the number of children in 2023 has increased to 61%, 61,000 from 55,000 in 2023, but the number of childcare provider has dropped. Now, this is not a problem that in Malaysia. We find that many of the developing countries have also a problem with having sufficient childcare providers. And also in Malaysia, we have the problem. Our qualified teachers, our qualified childcare providers, the salary in our neighboring country, Singapore, is much higher. So they migrate. And then China also found that our graduates are very attractive because our graduates know English and Mandarin. And so China needs people they want to promote develop English, develop skills, fluency in English. So they also take our graduates. So, and as a result, you find that, and this happened also, that's why we are lack of qualified teacher in the preschool. So that's why they drop. And this is because of the problem that we face. So, and we don't know how to answer that kind of question. So next, let me share with you the preschool enrollment. And again, look at it, it increases. It's it increases, and of course, it dropped in 2020, but it picked up, and then it dropped in 21 after the pandemic, and it picked up again. But again, we are only up to 84%. So we still have 16% more of children who do not have access. So we need to see how we can ensure that every child have access to preschool. But if you look at the private sector, you see that in 2021, and then it dropped again. And so I want to show that it takes a longer time for the private preschool to pick up. And this is, of course, it depends on parents lose their job, and then cost of living has gone up. So they may find difficulty in putting the children in private preschool. And so, but it is picking up now, so that is why we are quite happy that it's being picked up. So again, we find that our children, not all children have access to quality preschool. Now, the next one is what are the challenges? I want to share with you again some of the challenges. One is affordability. In the private preschool is actually, especially the quality in the private school, the higher the quality, the more expensive is the fee, right? I think you all understand. And so, and then even if the government provide free tuition, in other words, and even some parents find that they can't afford to send their children to the public preschool because there are other expenses. For example, transport. They have other uniform, the clothes, and so forth. So it's not only the fee. What is also the government need to look into is how to provide subsidy in the form of what subsidy to cover the transport and the other expenses. So, then another aspect is the fee. The drop is also the fee assistance was actually given to the preschool. If they go to private preschool, they can get a free subsidy if they qualify, if they belong to the lower income group. But it was terminated in 2018, and so that also affects the number of children in private preschool. Then another is there are no preschool in certain vicinity because of the remote area. Now, in the case of in the remote areas, they have a preschool, but the preschool may be quite far away, and the child may need to walk an hour to attend the preschool because they can't have one in every of the villages. And some of them, they have what is that hostel for children in preschool, but they're too young. And there was a case where the child walked all the way back home because she couldn't adapt to the hostel, staying in hostel. So that is another factor that we need to look in terms to provide access. Now, meeting the challenges, so what Malaysia planned to implement compulsory education for, particularly even for the, I have a lot more to go. I think I'm going to miss this because I want to look at the future. That is very important. Now, moving on is to help children for 21st century. And so you find that while resilience is important, resilience by itself is not enough. What is important is agility, and this means that the children, when we say to be agile, means that the children are able to adapt themselves to unexpected, uncertain, and uncanny changes. And early childhood is for the most critical period for doing this. Now, agility, it comes in three types. You have physical, cognitive, as well as social. Now, in the case, we find that, yeah, it seems to be difficult, but actually it's quite easy. Now, take, for example, one of the way to build the agility is actually for helping children to take care of themselves instead of doing everything for them. Because in doing that, I don't have time to explain how to do it. They will develop self-discipline, independence, and problem solving. And what is very important is that the teacher must have the ability to provide an environment that enables the children to explore. What is very important now is that currently we say provide activities which are relevant to or what the children are interested to do. That is out of date now. The present is that you have activities which will encourage children to be curious, to have self-directed learning, to take risks, and so forth. And for example, it's very simple. If the children are encouraged to do the monkey, to climb the monkey frame, or even to climb a tree. So in doing it, the child is judging the risks, and they're also problem solving. How can they climb in order to be safe, and so forth. So if you look, they're very, very easy, simple. And what is also important that is what toddlerhood is a good time. You know, children are very curious, and then and so you just allow the toddler, don't prevent them, stop them for exploring. And so engaging in culture activities like drama, music, because in that you develop creativity, communication as a plan. How are we going to do the role play? They negotiate and collaboration. Now, and then for children's well-being, what are the actions that need to be taken? Resilience is important, but we find that yes, we can integrate resilience and agility into our curriculum and also the pedagogy and also the assessment. But it is better still to review the ECCE system to identify what are the skills that are needed for the 21st century. And so the role model is that Finland has done it. They integrated the 21st century into the curriculum, and using transversal competency. Transversal controversy means the skills that can use in a whole variety of ways, and what is learned in one situation can be transferred to another situation. And the OECD Future Education and Skill provide you with the framework, because this one is to help our country to prepare today's children to thrive and shape the future for the individual and the well-being of the society. I'm about to finish, so just give me. Now, the changing needs. So what is very important now, while curriculum is important, you can have good curriculum, but the teacher you don't have a good teacher to implement the program, it is useless. So what is very important, and that's why OCD, future education and skills, actually in phase 2 change from learning in 2023 to teaching in 2023. And what I want to point out to you that we want to the technology in the future is not from the teacher, is from the technology. And then teacher now is, but the computer and the AI cannot provide. There are certain things which the AI can provide, but they cannot. There's certain things they can, but certain they cannot. And one of them is teaching attitude, character, and so forth. And therefore, what we need is therefore the teacher competence and the 20 that. Instead of listening, listening to teachers, giving them the instructions and directives, what is important is that we must build children as autonomous participants, that they are the one that actually get the information through curiosity, to exploration, and so forth. And therefore, what is important, the critical role of the teacher is to create a versatile learning environment for children to acquire the competency to learn. And so what is important is curiosity, open-minded, critical thinking, creativity to find different approaches to problem solving, and agility in finding out new ideas and what is that? I have just 2 more slides, just a very quick one. So, what is your classroom like? Is it like this? If you have this, of course, some of you would have a square table for 4 children sitting around. If you have this, you are actually teaching children using today's technology for the 21st century. And therefore, the children are being taught by teachers using 20th century pedagogy. And in a 19th century school system, right? And then, but our children need more than that for them to survive in the future. So, the program, I've shown this as an IT teacher, is an AI a teacher, because we may have in future AI as a teachers. But be consoled that actually the quality of the teacher is very, very important. And there are skills which the computer earlier mentioned, which you can teach, which the computer can't. And so what is important is that I would like to ask the lecturers who are here, do you have the competence to prepare children for the future? If not, I think you have to do professional course training. And so the World Bank has also pointed out, and this again, that definitely Malaysia needs to look at the teacher training very carefully, because this is, we need to improve on the quality and the professional development. And of course, what I'm very sad to say that with only 50.6% of the teachers without the minimum qualification, our children are in jeopardy. Yeah? And then definitely, in conclusion, not yet. Just give me 1 more minute before they chase me down. The world that our children will encounter consists of jobs that have not been created, tackling society changes that you cannot imagine, use of technology that have not been invented. So, therefore, our 20th century curriculum and pedagogy will not prepare our children to face the 21st century. And resilience is important, but we also need other skills to transfer. And we need compulsory education to ensure that every child have the opportunity to acquire the skills for them to survive in the future. And therefore, I appeal to you, policymakers, academicians, early child educators, parents, community, please have new mindset. Don't set on only the 20th century. You have to move to the 21st century. And for otherwise, our children is in jeopardy. The reason I choose this visual here, because if I choose one that shows how the children are doing well, it will not leave you the kind of impact as this image is showing you. Because you will carry with you the image that if you do not provide the children with the skills to thrive, they have a very thin line to survive. So thank you very much.